Hello everyone, welcome back to another Total War Warhammer 2 multiplayer battle. This is going to be the green skins versus the vampire counts. For my army, our front line is a mixture of black orcs and night goblins, so we got 3 and 3 of each, I believe, yeah. So this team up here is just so that we can have some poison damage in kind of intermixed with our black orcs. The poison damage is going to lower the damage potential of any unit that they are affecting, because that's what poison does. They have decent melee attack and defense stats there, so I was like, you know what? That's fine. We can just sprinkle some cheap gobos in here, and that's what we do. We have a Night Gobbo and Black Orc line. Being led by Wurzag, because again, he is the best, and also I think one of the best options that you can bring against the vampire counts because of his. I've been through over Wurzag stuff a lot, but anyway, because of his. Where is it? This thing, Wurzag's Revenge. So it gives a map-wide plus 50% miscast chance for all spellcasters. And the vampire counts are going to have a spellcaster, at least one of them. So I think Wurzag is just really good just for that alone. But besides that, for the spells that I took, we have the Here We Go, we have the Fist of Gork, and the Brain Burster. And as I've stated in a previous battle, I like to take the cheap spells with Wurzag because I also take the Bonewood Staff, which is going to trigger when you cast a spell, which gives your army map-wide a buff of charge, bonus, and melee attack. So that's why I kind of try and keep the spells a little cheap in cost so we can kind of just filter them, or not filter them, but use them throughout the entire battle. On top of that, I also took the Squiggly Beast, which is going to give him an improve to his Winds of Magic as well. Then we also have Effigy of Dakka, which is the single target direct damage spell, but that also holds people in place. And then, of course, we have a wall because we are Wurzag, we are a Orc leader. So he comes with a wall. Wurzag is just the best. Then we also have two groups. I think I have two groups of Biggins in this one. Yeah. So we have two groups of Orc Biggins for some anti-large, and then two groups of the Orc Boar Boy Biggins for, again, anti-large, and these guys are also armor piercers because when you're facing off against the vampire counts, you're definitely going to fight against some kind of large entity of some sort, probably multiple entities that are of the large variety. So we have 4 units to try and counter them, and then the Black Orcs there to help hold the line, just because that's what they do. Black Orcs try and hold the line and deal a lot of damage. Then for an archer component, because again, against the vampire coast, bringing archers is a really good idea. If you do not have archers, it's going to be hard to focus down their key targets, like let's say a mortis engine. So we actually brought 3 orc arrow boys. Why orc arrow boys? Because I never use them, and I just wanted to use them. That's it. I think the goblin squad is more effective and probably more like tournament worthy, if you want to go that route. You want to say that? But hey, you know what? You need to show some Orc Arrow boys some love. So I did. I have 3 of them in here. And they are going to try and focus down the more squishier targets of the vampire counts here. So let's go down in slow motion. For the vampire counts, we have a whole bunch of zombies to hold the front line, including the Tithe zombie, the Renown unit. Back here we have another Renown unit for the Stearnsmen, just a very solid pick. They can kind of fit against any enemy faction in the game. Stearnsmen are just pretty good at what they do, and that's holding for a long time because they regenerate and they have really good stats for, you know, Graveguard. Then we also have a Mortis engine here, which comes with 3 different abilities, passive abilities. So we have the Reliquary Corruption, Reliquary, whatever. It's going to be a direct damage dealt to an area around it, but only active if it is in melee. So that's a key thing. You can't just run this thing up and down the lines. You have to have this thing in melee for this ability to actually be active. So the longer it is in battle, the more value the Mortis engine gets. We also have the Binding, which is going to be a regen aura, so that is going to be effective at all times. And then we also have the Blasphemous Tome, which increases your power recharge rate to give you access to more, you know, magic faster. So that is what the Mortis engine is going to do. It is pretty low armored, so it is very weak to missiles. It does have a pretty decent bonus versus infantry, so it can kind of get in there and do a lot of good armor piercing damage to units like Black Orcs. But again, its weakness is definitely going to be arrows, because it doesn't have any innate missile resistance and it only has a 40 in armor. So that's kind of how you have to deal with those things. Then we also have a Necromancer on a corpse cart. So the Necromancer brought the Raise Dead and Invocation of Nehek. We also have the Forbidden Rod on them to temporarily give another boost to the power reserves and a recharge rate. But on the corpse card, they also gain access to the Unholy Lodestone, which is a replenishment aura that does stack with your Master of the Dead ability as a Necromancer, which they also brought. And then they also have the Vigor Mortis. My pronunciations are off. But anyway, it gives a +5 melee defense and melee attack to all allies around it. So the Necromancer on the corpse card is very slow, Also, it's susceptible to arrows with only a 50%, missile chance. But it does give you 2 regeneration auras stacking on top of each other as long as you're not in combat, because this thing is no longer active if engaged in melee. Something to keep in mind. And then it also gives you a nice little melee defense and attack buff on the Necromancer card. Behind them, we have a group of Cryptors. I believe there are 2 in this battle. Yep, we have 2 Cryptors. And then off in the skies, we have 3 groups of Fellbats. We have the leader, Manfred von Karstein, of the von Karstein family, bringing the Master of the Black Arts, which is going to be another temporary boost to your reserves and power recharge rate. We also have Raise Dead, Invocation of Nehek, Fate of Buna, and Spirit Leech on him as well. Have the Pestilent Breath because he chose the Dragon Mount, the Hunger because he is a vampire, and then so on and so forth, all the passives and stuff. The Swarm of Flies, I believe, is because of the Dragon, not necessarily because of Manfred von Karstein, has Fear and Terror, and an okay missile resistance of 25%. So on the Dragon, he has some pretty decent combat stacks. 46 is not the best for a Dragon-mounted Vampire Lord, but Manfred is still really good because he's really good at recharging your power reserves, although I don't think they actually took... He has a unique item which gives you more power to your power reserves and recharge rate if you're in melee. I don't think they actually took that, which is kind of one of the key reasons why you take him. At least the reason why I think you should take him. I'll look at that after the battle, but I believe he has that item still. I don't think it was taken out. I haven't played as him for a while, but I think that's still in there. Anyway, to round out their armor, they also have an anti-large armor piercer Terrorgeist, which is going to be slightly different from the Vampire Coast Terrorgeist, because the Vampire Coast Terrorgeist is more like of an all-rounder. They don't have a bonus versus anything, but I believe their melee attack is higher. But anyway, they have a 35 bonus versus large, so this is really good at killing armored large units. Terrorgeist is a very scary creature. It does also come with a Shriek skill as well. So that is the army, and we are about to go into a good old proper war. We're going to be charging into the zombie line, and even our Night Goblins can do pretty good against the tight zombies. So there you go. Our wall has been popped from Wurzag. And our archers, you can see, look at that, like a couple salvos, I think maybe 2, maybe that was just the first one, has already damaged the Mortis Engine by a whole bunch, and we are going to keep focusing on the Mortis Engine. I'm kind of holding back our Cav because they do have Manfred, they do have a Terrorgeist that can kind of just come into our back lines. I was holding back the Orc Biggest for a little bit, but we are going to rush them into there. I believe these ones are going to go to try and fight against the Cryptor specifically because that's their best target right now. Drop in a here we go on the Black Orcs up here to bump up their melee attack up to, well, it was 100 with that in the wall, but still at an 80, and you can see we're just chewing through the middle. Our Orc Arrow Boys are just destroying this Mortis Engine because it doesn't really have anything against missile fire. So we focus it down, and we're going to, there we go, it is dead. So our next targets, you can see they have the Fellbats in the background, or on our backline, but that's okay. Next target, I believe I start switching the Orc Arrow Boys from like Manfred to some of the Cryptors here and here, and then I also start shooting up the Necromancer or the Corpse Guard there. It's going to be hard to see because the arrows kind of disappear on this white, ground here. It's kind of really hard to see their actual trails, but that's the targets I'm going to be focusing on with the Orc Arrow Boys back here. Very nice breath from Manfred von Karstein, doing a lot of good damage to our Orc Warboy Biggins, which is going to be one of the counters to Manfred, who has not landed yet. I'm kind of just waiting for him to land. I have not used Effigy of the Git yet, but I am about to right now. So Manfred does land into our Orc Arrow line. I'm going to pull over Wurzag. We're going to hit him with Effigy of the Git. I'm going to disengage our Orc Warboy Biggins from these Fellbats, because this is what I've been waiting for. We're going to try and surround Manfred von Karstein. He cannot move right now with the Effigy of the Git on him. I'm just going to kind of let my Orc Arrow Boys take the Fellbats. It's fine. They've already destroyed a Mortis Engine, and they're doing a lot of good damage to the Necromancer. They did some damage to the Cryptors, and honestly, like, these Black Orcs, I'm really shocked at how well they're holding off the Cryptors, because the Cryptors are kind of a natural counter to Black Orcs, but yeah, like, they're doing really good. They have had some supporting fire from the Orc Arrow Boys, but they have not really taken that much damage, which is kind of shocking. I just want to point that out. It's kind of shocking they haven't taken as much damage as I thought they should. But again, they are being supported by some Orc Arrow Boys, so maybe that's why. So anyway, trying to do our best to try and bring down Manfred von Karstein. He is going to pop an Invocation of the Heck, and unfortunately, he's going to be able to go and bully his way past our Orc Warboy Biggins, and he's going to be able to live a little bit longer into this battle. I'm not entirely sure why I was pulling back the Black Orcs here. I can't really remember, but we're leaving the rest of the Black Orcs in the line. Sternsmen are being taken out by the Black Orcs as well. I've casted a couple of the Brainbuster spells and the Fist of Gork spells at this point to try and keep our army at a higher melee attack with the Bonewood Staff traits throughout the battle. So if you see anything being cast, mostly it's just to give our units a map-wide buff. That's kind of why I bring Wurzag, part of why I bring Wurzag. Over on the flank, we have some Night Goblins that were doing really good against the zombies, because of course they were. This Terrorgeist is going to be kind of embedded in a group of Orc Biggins for most of this battle. And I think I'm going to send actually another group of Orc Biggins who may be over here right now. And I'm going to try and just totally surround this Terror guy so that they cannot leave. Another good Pestilent Breath going on these Black Orcs. And that breath weapon is actually going to finish off the Black Orcs from the center for the most part. But they have been tanking really well against the Cryptors and the Mortis Engine. And they have, the Necromancer is nearby. In fact, he's right there. So right now, unfortunately for them, the Necromancer's Master of the Dead trait is not going off because, again, it is disabled. So, like, what you really want to do here is keep him away from combat for as long as possible, because you have the Master of the Dead trait, you're going to have his Corpse Cart trait, and ideally they have the Mortis Engine regen, because all three of those regens do stack. And on Crypt Horrors have the natural regeneration, so with the Mortis Engine, with the setup with the Necromancer and the Crypt Horrors, that's going to be, what, 1, 2, 3, 4? Yeah, 4 regen auras going off your Crypt Horrors at one time. It makes them supremely survivable until they, are done with a regen cap. But this is kind of a similar build that I used to run when I would run Crypt Horrors with Necromancers and Mortis Engines as well, because you can just keep stacking regen auras, because as long as the regen aura is coming from a different source, it's active, So you have tons of regen potential with them, but unfortunately for them, I sniped the Mortis Engine. And now this guy is in melee, so he's not actually doing his Smash the Dead trait. But the Corpse Card should still be active. So that is at least one more regen aura and the melee defensive attack that is still active, even though he is in melee. So over here, you may have noticed when I was talking, Manfred von Karstein finally charges onto Wurzag, gets one good hit on the charge, immediately went into like a dive animation, which procced a second and almost third hit, I think. So like within a matter of seconds, Wurzag went from like, oh, I'm feeling pretty good, to like, holy shit, I'm almost dead. And now Spirit Leech has been cast on him as well, so he is going to rout for right now, because he just took so much damage from just a simple, like a single charge attack from Manfred, and then like the subsequent 2 attacks afterwards that kind of procced really quickly into a Spirit Leech, and like Wurzag's almost dead. So that really turns the tide for a little bit. Meanwhile in the back, Manfred has also been summoning some zombies and skeletal warriors in our backline, trying to get rid of our Orc Arrow Boys. Our Orc Arrow Boys have been targeting Manfred as well, because they have already destroyed the Mortis Engine. The Cryptors are for the most part dealt with, and this Terrorgeist is kind of just in the middle of a lot of my units, so I didn't really want to fire a whole bunch of poor accuracy Orc Arrow Boys into these units and just try and kill off our own Night Goblins and Orc Biggins. So I'm just kind of keeping the Terrorgeist tied down with the Orc Biggin melee units and the Night Goblins to keep them poisoned, and just having the Orc Arrow Boys try and focus down Manfred von Karstein. Luckily, Wurzag does come back from routing here. Not much health left with only 710, and Manfred is going to do another Spirit Leech, and that is going to basically be the end for Wurzag. I pop in a get back here just to try to keep him in the battle for as long as possible with the bonus versus leadership, or 2 leadership with the get back here, but it's kind of done at this point. But again, Orc Arrow Boy is going off on Manfred, doing a lot of good damage. He is almost, well, kind of near his ceiling cap at this point with the evocations that he's had, plus the hunger ability as well. And you can see, like, we're finishing off the Sternspin that these Black Orcs have been tanking me, like, almost the entire battle. We did a nice recharge there with our Orc Boar Boy Biggins. I believe Manfred is now going to start chasing Wurzag, who only has 50 hit points left, but he is still, it's still, a good idea to do this, because if you can do a quick charge attack on Wurzag and kill him, that's when we're really going to have a shake or a hit to our morale, because that's when the leader is dead. Because if they're dead or they routed off the entire field, that's when you get the hit to your leadership. So it's not a bad idea to just try and finish him. So Manfred's actually going to fly over here. I'm trying to shadow him with the Orc Boar Boy Biggin squad, because I know where they're going, and he's going to get a charge here, and he's actually going to finish off Wurzag. And I believe he is able to fly up in the air before we were able to surround him too. So he snipes our Lord. Our leadership does get hit, but fortunately for me, at this point in the battle, since Wurzag died very late in it, the power bar is still in our favor, so it's kind of keeping our morale in the game, because there's not many vampire units left. So again, we still have this Terrorgeist surrounded. We've charged them with our Orc Boar Boy Biggins, who are now temporarily routing, but I think they will come back. Luckily, we still have some Orc Biggins, and I believe Night Goblins? No, they're both Orc Biggins. Just hammering down this Terrorgeist like the entire battle. We do have some summon units in the back, but Manfred is close to death, and again, the power bar is still inching ever closer into our favor, even with Wurzag gone. We still do have anti-large counters here with the Orc Arrow Boys. We're going to get, oh, that's another good breath there. Those poor Orc Arrow Boys. But again, we still have counters to their large units with Orc Boar Boy Biggins, and so, we're pretty okay. The Terrorgeist falls, and that's going to basically be the end of the vampire army. All they have is Manfred, but he can't fight everything else on his own. If Wurzag had been sniped a little earlier in the fight, that could have maybe went differently. Because without his spells, to 1, to do damage, and then 2, to also do the secondary proc of the Bonewood Staff, which then in turn deals more damage because your entire army is hitting more often with the Bonewood Staff's, buff. If he had died earlier on and got sniped, because he got sniped so quickly. He really went from like 100 to near 0 in a matter of like 60 seconds. It was ridiculous. So maybe if he died earlier, then that it could have been a victory for the vampire counts. My army would have routed a lot more easier. But since I was able to... I'm not even going to say since I was able to keep him alive. Really, that was on them, because it was up to them to choose when and where to hit Wurzag. I didn't have much say in that option. Because Wurzag's just on a boar... Manfred's on a flying dragon, so you know it's like, you can do your best to try to run away, but they're probably going to catch you if they really want to. But anyway, good game. Two-headed 9 Hydra. The Terrorgeist netted 77 kills, but he was just it was basically just killing a bunch of Night Goblins and then some Orc Biggins, who the Orc Biggins were still doing a lot of good damage to the Terrorgeist. The Terrorgeist really wants, actually maybe the Terrorgeist killed some Black Orcs too. I think it actually landed into one of our Black Orcs. Oh, you know what? Maybe that's why I withdrew those Black Orcs. Maybe because of Terrorgeist? I can't remember. Sorry. I don't know. The Cryptors, though, didn't really get much work done. We charged in some Orc Boy Biggins into one of them. We also focused them down with the Orc Boys, which they don't look like they got many kills, but again, they destroyed the Mortis Engine. They did damage to the Cryptors. They did damage to the Necromancer. They actually did kind of a lot of work, and then a lot of damage to Manfred there at the end as I focused them down with the 3 Orc Boys. So yeah, you know, not bad. You don't maybe necessarily need the Gobbo Squad. I still think it's the better one because you have those Night Goblin Renown units that lower an enemy's armor by, was it 20, 30, something like that with this under armor ability. So I still think that's more competitive, quote unquote. But it's fun to like, you know, splash some Orc Boys in every once in a while. They're still not the worst unit in the game. Not the best, but not the worst. Orc Biggins did a lot of good work, and like the Night Gobbos just tore through those zombies. Like they loved it, or I loved it when I saw a line of zombies. I'm like, oh, my Night Goblins can actually do something here. They can kill things, because this isn't just a bunch of Graveguard. They're just zombies. Great. Anyway, before we go to the cinematic view, let me just double check. I'm almost positive Manfred still has that item. It's I think one of the best reasons to bring him. Now, obviously, another good reason is that he has both of the lores. That's a very powerful caster in and of its own right. But where is the vampires? Items? Yeah, Sword of Unholy Power. If in melee, improve power recharge rate and reserve. So this enables you to just cast so much magic. Now, I mean, maybe they didn't bring it because they also had the Mortis Engine, which also kind of enables you to cast more. But still, I think this item is just so good and it's so cheap. Because you're going to have Manfred in combat, especially if you put him on a dragon, because they do so much damage. So, like, this just synergizes so well, and you can just cast so many more spells. But unless I missed it, I don't think I did, but I don't believe they brought that. It's pretty cheap. I would bring it every time I bring Manfred. Because he can, you know, cast all the spells, and then he has the winds of magic to do so. But anyway, let's go watch a cinematic view of the battle, everybody. We is Gobbos. My Gobbos are really cool. Some nasty or gnarly looking short swords. Was that the sound of the lake breaking? I don't think I've ever noticed that before. The creak of the ice? Oh, that's cool. Line of armored greenskins, I love it. And we're like, get him! Oops. Too close. Yeah, it looks like we got distracted by the zombie summon. He just kind of casually walks through. You got lucky this time, Manfred. I believe this is when Manfred charges Warzag here pretty soon. Oh, that's when he hits the Black Orcs. Oh, they took so much damage from that. Yeah, so he connects on this, and then he goes right into a dive, and that hits, and then I think he gets hit again. Right there, he gets hit again. So all those attacks hit, and then he hits him with a Spirit Leech, and he goes from like 100 to 0 within seconds. It was ridiculous. Warzag did not have a good day after that. This Necromancer's in a world of hurt. Protection, this Necromancer is now dead. Stern's gonna really, like, even against Black Orcs throughout this entire time, the Stern's been lived for a long time. Black Orcs hit pretty hard. Stern's gonna just really tanky. There's only so much they can do. Oh, Oh! Warzag, no! Press F for respect. A fallen hero will not be forgotten, though. This Terraguy's just lived. Just embedded in a world of hate. Just so many Orc Biggins on it. Oh. Farewell. Alright, end times have been averted. Manfred's dead. You're welcome. And there we go. So thank you for watching, everybody. Hope you enjoyed. I'll see you all next time. Take care.